Okay, thank you one and all. Thank you very much for joining the call. Good morning, good evening. This is Satya, your trainer. We'll continue from where we left. Primarily, today we will be mainly covering, all the technical aspects, across the modules. What is this course is going to cover? I'll be giving a high level overview on all the technical components we are going to touch base in this course. On the SaaS side of it, on the Oracle Fusion SaaS side of it, and also I'll be giving you an overview on the Oracle Integration Cloud, being that's one being the key component in this entire course structure. Okay, feel free to stop me anywhere if something not makes sense to you, have any question pop in your mind. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So so basically, right, generally when we get started with the Oracle Fusion, right, as a technical consultant, or even a techno-functional consultant, right, there are certain things which we need to really learn. So I'll be trying to give you an overview on all the areas where we are going to touch base and get in depth when the course go through its content phase. So first, as a technical consultant, right, one of the primary area is inbound integrations, right? Any application you take, there must be a way to push the data into the application, right? So you take Oracle Fusion as an example. There are certain tools given by Oracle Fusion across the modules. One have to be fully familiar with it, aware of it, so that they can efficiently make use of them to data imports into the system. So the one you're seeing on the screen, right? So primarily, these tools are spread across the modules, I mean, or the offerings or the product families you are going to work on with. For example, if you take HCM Cloud, right? So generally, HCM data loader is the most commonly used data loading component to create all your employees' absences, all the managerial hierarchy, supervisor hierarchy, and all those kind of stuff. Okay, so we'll be certainly covering those use cases in the course duration. And another one is spreadsheet loader. I mean, this is also does the same job, but it does handles when there is a less volume, of the data. Okay, and the pay. Shravani, do you have a question? Okay. I request if don't have any question, kindly please go on mute. Thank you. So another one is payroll batch loader. We call that PBL. This is specifically designed to deal with the payroll related data loading, because generally employee payroll related data is super bulky and comes with a lot of components. So the PBL is exclusively designed for that particular purpose. Certainly, we'll be looking at those examples too. And there's another common protocol, SOAP and REST web services. So using the SOAP and REST web services also, we can basically across all the offerings, across all the product families, you can create what we call, account payable invoices, purchase orders, employees, order, I mean, sales orders, purchase orders, and all those things basically you can, create using SOAP and REST. The main difference is they cannot handle larger volumes of it. They are only suitable for shorter, or smaller sets of data. Okay. And one more element is like one more component is file-based data import. If you see the HDL, SDL, I mean HDL, PBL, they are specific to HCM modules. Okay, they won't get used in the other modules like SCM and financials. However, FBDA is the most common tool, file-based data import, to do all your bulk data uploads, into the system. Which is the primary tool, especially in the supply chain space and financial space. I mean, if I quickly give an example, I mean, the basic example, whatever I have given is like for the people who are starting up, but people from the EBS background, right? Think like if some project is upgrading from EBS to Oracle Fusion, so all the open valid transactions has to be brought into the Oracle Fusion applications, right? The obvious choice is to use the, if you are if you need to do the conversions, we call the term called conversions when we are converting from a legacy system to the Oracle Fusion system. So basically, the legacy system or the source system will prepare the data according to this FBDA format specifications, and then finally import the data into the system. So in a simple nutshell, HDL, PBL, or something specific to HCM, and FBDA is something caters to SCM and financial modules, and SOAP and REST web services are something can be used across all the modules. So the bottom line, what I wanted to say here is from an inbound integration standpoint, in the entire course duration, every technical component we try to cover across all the modules so that you have a wide coverage, because tomorrow when you get into an organization, we never know which particular module we are going to get, right? Depending on the project, depending on the company, right? So it's important to have a hands-on and have some good understanding on those areas. Okay. Another element is outbound integrations, right? So guys, when I say integrations, now I'm sure many people are curious about Oracle Integration Cloud. See, Oracle Integration Cloud is something, I have a separate slides for that where I'll be talking about it, but let me give you so that doubt will go away from your mind. Generally, when you talk about integrations, tools like middleware tools like Oracle Integration Cloud comes into the picture. But if you keep that Oracle Integration Cloud aside for a minute, right? Any application you take, first of all, that application should have certain approaches, processes, certain components to be part of it, so that integration tools can leverage those options to orchestrate the process. Okay, so don't think that okay, I'm only speaking about these components, but it's missing out the whole OIC element. OIC is altogether a separate PaaS offering. Certainly, whatever, for example, if I use file-based data import and I import the purchase orders in the system, right? That is like all manual. You prepare the file, you upload the file, and you submit the file in the system. But using integration, you can automate. Using Oracle Integration Cloud, you can automate this process. So this course basically covers first the standalone manual aspects of it, and then second, the Oracle Integration Cloud aspects of it. Understand? I'll be talking more about the Oracle Integration Cloud. In fact, I have a plan to even showcase you the overall, the look and feel of the application and things like that. Okay, moving on to the outbound integrations. So generally, right, you take, like I told, you take any application, there must be a way in, there must be a way out, right? Because being an enterprise application, it have a strong requirements to share the data with the other systems, so that their probably the reporting happens somewhere else. Probably the third party system needs this information as a part of that end-to-end business process or business flow. So in that sense, right, if you talk about outbound scenarios, one in the HCM space, there is something called HCM extracts, which can handle very bulk data extracts to the any of the third party systems, right? Take example like banks, benefits vendors and things like that. And another common famous tool is BA Publisher, because BA Publisher is something common across all the modules, all the product families. Okay, so guys, I'm interchangeably using product families and modules. They both are same. Okay, so basically using this BA Publisher, we will be creating pixel perfect reports, basically with the underlying leveraging the SQL as a language. We will be creating basic reports, complex reports, the templates, the PDF templates, the Excel templates, and all those stuff. We will be getting into it, all the dynamic aspects of it, and also the language specific elements, automatic translation and static translation of the template labels and things like that. And another important tool is OTBA, Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence. What does this mean is, see, while the BA Publisher is more towards the developer-centric tool because it requires some kind of a SQL knowledge. But OTBA doesn't need anything like that. It is more towards the business-centric tool basically, where there is something called subject areas. Anyone can easily learn and drag and drop the columns, and they can quickly create a eye candy reports on the fly with some good dashboards, pie charts, and stuff like that. Okay, certainly, like in the inbound case, your web services helps you to push the data into the system, right? Similarly, in the outbound case, also your web services to get the data. You can get the list of invoices, you can get the list of employees, you can get the list of open purchase orders, open invoices, something like that. So, but again, the only aspect is they are certainly less volume. They can only handle less volume. Where your BIP report, using BIP report, extracting data is the most efficient one. That's something also, I mean, it also caters a large volumes of data. Understand? And the last one is, this is something many people doesn't really cover, business intelligence cloud connector. It is an integral part of Oracle Fusion application itself. This particular tool is for the primarily for the super bulk operations, like if you have like a requirement of getting the data, extracting the data probably in 100 million, 200 million, 500 million kind of a scenario, right? Primarily for your data warehousing reasons, BACC is the best choice. So we'll be certainly covering how we can leverage that, and what are the best practice extracting the data, scheduling the jobs, and all that stuff will be covered in great detail. Right? So I mean, see, this slide specifically talks about the reporting tools available in the application, right? First, one of the common reporting tool is FRCS, Financial Reporting Studio. This is primarily used by, this is one of the basically Hyperion product. Like I told, right? Oracle Fusion is brought the best of all other application, their own application landscape, right? So basically this Financial Reporting Studio is again a kind of a drag and drop interface, but it specifically does the reporting on the general ledger level. That's the main difference. It does it in the 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional reporting, and it can certainly do quite a lot of live reporting on the GL cube database. Okay, the other one is SmartView. SmartView is more like an Excel plugin basically. Okay, this is something gets used again on the same general ledger level. Primarily on the financials, right? Because general ledger specifically have a different set of what we call requirements. So SmartView is an Excel based tool. So right, if there is a financial user, the moment they have a control of Excel and that the desired data is there in the Excel, they can play around like anything. Understand? So this SmartView is an Excel plugin. Using this, you can basically, the GL detailed balances can be exported into an Excel, and then they can do the pivots, and they can do all kind of complex analysis in the Excel, so that they get a different level of visibility. Certainly, we'll be touch basing some of the examples in both these tools. OTBA, BAP, we already looked at it. The reason they come here is because we are specifically talking about reporting, right? Reporting, one being reports can be used in two different phases, right? One as an integration, because you wanted to extract data and send it to someone else, right? That is from an integration perspective. But also the main purpose of reports are that generally business users request a lot of reports. Hey, look, I wanted to know all the purchase orders which are not yet approved. I wanted to know all the invoices where the dollar amount is greater than $50,000. Right. There are also some standard reports like, printing the purchase order, right? Similarly, there are some payment related standard reports. So we will be also looking at customizing those standard reports by tying them back to the solid real-time examples. Okay. So generally, the reports can be used in both the context. One, from a user perspective, they need certain reports for their efficient day-to-day operation. Second, from an integrations perspective, we'll be going quite detailed into the OTBA and BAP in our course structure, and Smart View and financial reporting certainly will touch base on certain examples in terms of how to use them and in what scenarios it can be used. Right, I'm sure someone was asking these questions yesterday on as far as the current slide concerns, right? The customizations and because see, this is the SaaS application, guys, right? First of all, I'm sure the moment you heard SaaS, the customization or the personalization options are very limited. Because this is a SaaS, right? You can't really do, unlike your on-premise systems, like take the EBS system. You can customize left and right. You can add new pages. You can customize the existing page. You can create brand new tables. You can create brand new schemas. Everything you can do in the on-premise, or EBS systems, right? But whereas coming to the Oracle Fusion systems, that's not really possible. So, for example, what is possible is really, let's first check the first one. Like, so we can certainly add the additional fields like descriptive flex fields. Basically, in a simple terms, people can add descriptive flex fields on top of your standard tables. Basically, it's to accommodate additional fields because no business is self-sufficient with what's been given by a specific product. So these DFFs can cater the additional requirements to store additional information and still be in context with your mainline data. KFFs are also an integral part. EFFs are something which is extensively used in the order management module, right? So KFFs are being heavily used in financials module. There are certain key setups which, without defining them, we cannot really move forward. But yeah, since this is an overall session, I mean overview session, I'm just giving a high level, but not really getting much detail into them. But the whole point is that we will be certainly going ahead and giving you a real-time cases when we will be creating, how we will be creating, how that can be accessed, how those custom fields can be tied back to your actual transactions, right? Another one is page composer. So using page composer, right? Basically, you can do small modifications on any standard page you take. These are all ADF pages, right? On any standard page you take, at the end, there will be requirements like I wanted to make a specific field to be hidden, right? I wanted to make a specific field to be mandatory, okay? Or I wanted to make something unmandatory. Okay, something like that. So there are small cosmetic changes can be done using the page composer. Okay. Another tool, given by Oracle Fusion is application composer. The application composer is, it's a less known and less used tool because of its own disadvantages. It's extremely slow, first of all. But basically, the whole idea of having an application composer is you can actually create your own pages within the Oracle Fusion. Okay, and let your custom page data work with your standard data. Okay, it is a really useful tool, but unfortunately, because of its downsides and the performance issues, not many people really adopt this and use this until unless there is a strong requirement, for building an extension where they cannot go out of the Oracle Fusion. Okay, certainly we'll be showcasing you an example of creating a brand new page and kind of a create, update, delete kind of a page using this, and showcasing you how that data can be work in conjunction with the Oracle Fusion standard data models. Okay, so that's one thing. And another thing is something called sandbox, guys. That's something, using sandbox, basically you can, whatever the page composer, application composer is part of sandbox, basically. And you can also change the application theme, the menu, how the menu should look like, and that look and feel aspects also can be altered using that. Understand? So, I mean, this is at this level, right? Basically, these changes will be needed some kind of a groovy level, a groovy scripting or an expression language. These kind of small, expression language scripts are needed basically for advanced use cases. Okay. Another important component is security. So Oracle Fusion runs a concept called RBAC, which means role-based access control. Okay, when I say role-based access control, who is going to access what on which data? So if you take this classic example, if an employee joined, right, employee will be associated with the role. who can actually view the payslips for themselves. They cannot view for some other payslips. For example, another example is you take the example of a line manager, which means an employee supervisor, okay, who can basically do the performance appraisal for that particular guy, or for that for the people who all the people who are reporting to that guy, right? If you take another role, HR specialist in the North America, this person can basically transfer employees, right? He can transfer employees for the employees in US and Canada. So role-based access control is an amazing future where you really have a granular control over the data and also at the page level, okay, and also at the overall application level. So as a part of this course, we will be certainly covering explaining the standard roles what we have, how do we customize them, I mean how do we create a customized roles, okay, what are different data roles, duty roles, abstract roles. So those are all will be explained in great detail. How do we provision a data level access, how do we create a custom roles, and ensure that there were no data leaks. So we will be certainly getting into those details as a part of the course structure. Like I told, right, these will be explained in a great detail once we get into the actual course content. Another important we'll be covering is workflows, guys. See, any application you take, there will be a strong need of approval scenarios, like approving the use cases. Like say, for example, there will be a purchase order got created. Obviously, the purchase order just can't be going to the supplier, right, for fulfilling it. There must be some kind of a control gates in between, so that some supervisor will first review the purchase order, who raised it, why raised it, what is the specific item, what is the cost of it. Someone have to review and approve, right? Otherwise there won't be any cost control. Everyone will be left and right raising and then just going for the fulfillment, and there will be a huge problem at the payment level. So the point is, Oracle gives an in-house tool called BPM, Business Process Management. It's a BEPL workflows. Again, I mean, using a UI way, interactive way, people can define the hierarchies. Okay, they can tell if purchase order is raised based on the purchase order amount, I wanted to redirect the approval. If it is less than 10,000, redirect to the line manager. If it is greater than $10,000, redirect to the second level manager. So something like that. So basically, you can have a very good level of control mechanism by using the approval workflows. Understand? It will send notifications, and then people can act on it and things like that. The one you are seeing on the slide is a HR related example. Like when an employee gets hired, certainly it will go to the first level manager, second level manager, third level manager, and finally it will get back to the recruiter, and then the recruiter can release the offer letter. So it can go this way. This is one of the classic example on the HCM side. The one in the beginning I told is on the procurement side. Like that, we will be learning how to modify the standard flows, how to create the custom flows. All that stuff will be learning in the workflows.
So, Satya, I have a question. So, is this BPM is on for on-prem, right? BPL and BPM. Will it work with Fusion applications as well?
Yeah, I mean, see, I think BPM is on-prem. I think you're coming from SOVA side. I mean, you're
Right. Yeah.
SOVA side of it, right? Yes. See,
Right.
like I told, right? Oracle Fusion applications, some of the components are kind of brought from the on-premise. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It is one of the integral part. It will come as a SaaS offering. Okay. So to answer your question precisely, yes, we can very much use the Oracle BEPL for your approval, defining approvals, and managing that notifications and everything altogether.
So, you're saying if I have to modify the Fusion workflow, I have to open the BPL tool, basically the SOVA tool, to modify that workflow?
No, not like that. See, that's what you're referring is from an on-premise background. Generally, you have a SOVA tool, or the BEPL tool. Basically, you log into the SOVA console, and then you figure out what that was all in the on-premise, right? But here, the workflow specific definitions can be found in the SaaS itself. It's not that you are going to download and open in it another tool like that. Within the SaaS interface, basically you can open that and you will see all the rules and all the notifications, all the logic has been there, and then we will go and either alter that logic or we will add new logic so that the workflow behavior will be work as per our requirements. But no additional tools, everything within SaaS.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Now, guys, I hope you get an overview, right? So basically, quickly, if I take few minutes at a high level on the SaaS side of it, we will be covering, showcasing all the application, like overview of the application, navigation, and functional setup manager, and things like that. Remember, though the course focus is morely on the technical aspect of it, there will be certain functional elements also we will be touch basing, because it is extremely important even to successfully navigate in the technical space, right? You need to know certain business flows. For example, I'll take an example. If you don't know the procure to pay or orders to cash or hire to retire business processes, right? At the end, you may ended up working in any of these end-to-end processes. It is extremely difficult to do your end-to-end unit testing, right? Because if you don't even know how to create a purchase order, how to approve it, how to do the receiving, how to do the account payable invoice, right? It's extremely difficult to navigate in the the technical aspect of it. So in that context, right, we are going to equip you with the necessary knowledge so that you will be comfortably able to navigate in the technical arena. So that's why, right, there will be a short span of the course will be also going to cover you certain important functional elements, like you need to understand the enterprise structure. What is my ledger, legal entity, my business unit, my inventory org. You have to know it, because every transaction is going to happen either at the ledger level or at the business unit level. Some reports run at the ledger level. The mostly sub ledgers operate at the business unit level. The people who are coming from e-business background, it is an operating unit, but here we call business unit. So without knowing these fundamentals, right, it's really not easy to just keep going and feel confident about what we are learning. So in that sense, we will be certainly helping you with that. What is a functional setup manager? Why do we use that? What are the use cases and enterprise structures? And some the end-to-end overview of procure to pay. By doing this, right, we will also introduce to the underlying tables, because at the end, we being a technical folks, it's important to know the underlying table for every transaction you make. You create a purchase order, there will be a purchase order table, header table, line table, distribution table. Like that, there will be for HCM employee, there will be tables. So until someone introduces you, because unfortunately there is no single user guide that you do read a document and I understand for every page what are the underlying tables. That's not that easy. Either it comes from tremendous experience, or someone have to taught you that, hey, look, for this transaction, this is how the underlying tables are. This is how you can found. There is a scientific way of figuring that out, and enable us to navigate in the entire technical space. So while explaining the P2P and O2C cycles, we will be very detailedly going through the end-to-end cycle. Plus, we'll also introduce you the underlying tables. Okay, so that's one important highlight. Another is security. Like I explained, we'll be going in depth about all the security aspects, creating them, managing them, provisioning them. Reporting, I already covered what's going to be covered, but just to add one more highlight point, we will be doing from basic reporting to complex reporting. It's not that we'll just touch base on basic concepts and do standalone things. No, we will be also customizing complex standard reports in line with the real-time requirements. Okay, so similarly, OTBA we see, and we also see the financial reporting aspects. We just kind of touch base, right? So the data loader and all that stuff we already discussed, and we will be certainly getting into it. The HCM, specific to the HCM, we will cover the extracts and formulas and some complex elements. Certainly we do personalizations like I explained earlier. So I'll take a minute here. What I'm planning to do is I'll quickly get into the application and showcase you and give you an overview of the application and probably getting you navigate to some reporting aspect of it and then just showcase you as a small demo. So do you have any questions before I jump into the topic?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Satya.
Yes, Naveen.
So I'm not able to see anything regarding like data conversions or interfaces, something. So you displayed a lot like SOAP and other things, but in the content, so you didn't. So you are going to cover them as well with some examples
Yeah,
like
Naveen,
that.
I'm sorry if you missed it. So I have actually covered. See, if you talk about this, whatever the inbound integrations you're talking, everything contributes to your conversions basically. Okay.
So
On the HCM module, you use HDL to do the conversion. On the supply chain and on the financial modules, you use FBDA to accommodate your conversion scenarios. Okay, even you use SOAP and REST web services to some extent for a smaller loader scenarios, right? So whatever I spoke on the integration, though it is sounding integration, but this can at the end integration is a recurring activity, whereas conversion is a one-time activity. But the tools provided here are something which can be used for both.
So you are going to walk through all these things.
Very
like,
much, absolutely. See, we will be
so
like.
when you say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When you say SOAP REST web services, you are going to like show it some examples, like how it's going to work, how we are going to do that.
Exactly. It's just not with an example, Naveen. First, we will introduce to the SOAP web services. What is a WSDL? What is a namespace? What is the queue name? What is the structure of the WSDL? What is the structure of what is a sample payload, request payload, response payload? What is a synchronous, asynchronous? So basically, we'll be first giving you all the fundamentals about it, and then we'll jump into the actual how do we consume the public web services, SOAP web services with a real time. How do we create a payable invoice? How do we create a purchase order, in the system? How do we create the lines, purchase order lines? How do we create the employees? So we basically give you real-time examples, all by showcasing you starting from A to Z of web services.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
So are we going to use only SOAP or REST APIs as well?
Both, because Oracle Fusion uses both of them, Swapna.
Yes.
In the earlier releases, there was only SOAP, dominated by SOAP, but now pretty much for every functionality, you have a REST web service. So if there is a project which is implemented like 5-6 years back, they must be having a lot of SOAP calls. But if there is something, a brand new implementation, they must be leveraging REST. So to answer your question precisely, yes, we are going to go through both of them.
Satya,
Yes.
as part of this, are you going to create a brand new REST service or SOAP service, or you're just going to show us as whatever is available in the cloud?
Good question, Viru. First of all, this being SaaS, right? We won't be, there won't be any requirement to create, or we cannot really create, what we call a brand new SOAP or REST web services. Okay, being this is a SaaS application, our scope is to consume what's been given.
Yeah,
okay,
endpoint, right?
Sorry.
All the endpoint, like
Exactly.
we can get. Yeah. There is no brand new.
Exactly. We don't be really see, it is
I know.
not necessary for us to understand how to implement a SOAP service, how to implement a REST service, because that's altogether a different world again. I mean,
that comes with OIC.
See, OIC, you indirectly create a SOAP and REST, but you don't really write any code or something like that. Whatever the integration you create, that becomes automatically a REST service, that becomes automatically a SOAP service, depending on how you implement it. Understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so what I got with this is we are just going to see the configuration, how to configure and invoke the REST service.
Exactly. See, we just first understand everything, Viru, because for you to configure or invoke, right, you need to understand that there are certain elements. You know, you need to understand the JSON structure as a whole. What is the value and key pair elements? What are different authentication protocols? What is OAuth 2-legged, 3-legged? What is basic authentication? What is token-based authentication? So, I mean, it's just not taking a URL and, you know, putting in the Postman and submitting. There is a whole lot of background, because see, look, the moment we transact in the technical arena, knowing about our own Oracle Fusion web service is not sufficient. The moment you get into the Oracle Integration Cloud, you are going to deal with a lot of third-party applications, and we never know what is being exposed as a part of those third-party applications. Look, it could be a SOAP or it could be a REST. So it is important to understand the structure. How do we call them? What are you know, the SOAP headers? You know, what are the you know, request responses, MTOM attachments, and all that stuff we'll be learning. But yeah, to answer your question precisely, there won't be any need of writing a web service from the scratch. That will happen in the full stack world. People write, you know, in the name of microservices. In the older implementations, the SOA implementations, people use it to write the services. So the service at the end transforms as a web service, right? It contains a specific programming language, either Java you take or Python. Using that, people write or implement the web services. But that is not really needed for us here.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
May I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I understand you will teach this one like REST and SOAP. So here I don't see VBCS is a bigger thing. I think you are not teaching VBCS, right?
So Satya, so far I have not really covered the Oracle Integration Cloud aspect of it, Satya. This is so far I'm only talking. I have another agenda item where I exclusively talk about Oracle Integration Cloud. VBCS is part of Oracle Integration Cloud. Yes, we are certainly going to cover the VBCS, but we will be certainly helping you to understand the overall VBCS scape. How do we create the extensions by taking some real-time example of creating a you know, read-only page, you know, update page and delete page kind of scenarios. Okay.
Yeah, okay. That is a bigger thing actually. I did some, but it's not easy. Yeah.
Yes. So the reason so far you did not hear is we've been so far mainly talking about, see, the course is structured into two different sections. One is your SaaS part of it. Another is your PaaS part of it. Okay, so far I've been covering all the SaaS related elements. So once we get into the PaaS of it, certainly you will be able to see Oracle Integration Cloud and, you know, all the different adapters, connections, different type of integrations, and then also the Visual Builder Cloud service and stuff like that.
VBS, yeah. Okay. VBS also new feature, yeah.
Sorry?
VBS, a new feature. VBCS, Visual Builder Cloud Service, and VBS. VBS is the new feature now coming. VBS.
Visual Builder Studio you're talking about, I believe, right?
Yeah. You're not covering.
Yeah. Now, we don't have any specific coverage on the Visual Builder Studio, Satya, but I'll be introducing how that is different than VBCS, you know, in what cases that we'll be using and all that stuff. I mean, all that information will be given, but we won't be doing any hands-on on the Visual Builder Studio as such.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, Satya, since we're talking about the SOAP and REST and also the VBCS, did you guys ever implemented anything from invoking a SOA service from VBCS?
Okay, I think there is a possibility we can do that, but it's a little tricky. Yes, it is possible we can do that, Naresh. Okay, we can get that, you know, use case and showcase you, but it is not very strategic. VBCS being a modern, lightweight, you know, platform, especially to, you know, everything you create there can be exposed as a REST service. Correct. But it doesn't mean that you cannot call a SOAP. Yes, we can call, but there are certain, you know, approaches and tricks to be played so that we can imitate that the SOAP looks like a REST. There is a way. I've came across such a scenario in my, you know, some of the projects.
Okay, got it. I'll wait for that. Thanks.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, Ram.
Yeah, Satya. My name is Ram. I am from Oracle Revenue Management and Billing product, where we deal with most of the AR process. And I'm familiar with the AP process also. AP, GL, all these modules are available in our product also.
Okay.
My target is I'm planning to attend the Oracle Financial Fusion Techno-Functional course. So is this course is helpful?
Yes, very much, Ram. Like I told, it's a mix of all the modules, Ram. There will
Okay.
be element. I mean, there will be good number of examples on the financials also, dealing with the AP invoices, cash management related aspects, and all those things, AR related things, and things like that. It's a mix of all the modules. By the end of the session, everyone will be able to get an good hold on all the modules and their specific tools which being employed within them.
Okay, and Rainbow is providing functional training also, Fusion Financials.
I think yes, but I need to cross check and confirm that I think there is something like that, but I need to cross check. I'm not very sure about it. I mean, you're talking about a dedicated full length functional, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I need to cross check. I think there are something going on, but I'm not very sure.
Okay.
You can also drop a note to the admin team, Ram. They can be able to help you out. Otherwise, in the subsequent sessions, I'll be able to answer that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, folks?
So after joining, can we get an instance of something so that we can play around?
Yeah. So Naveen, we are going to give you a 6 months of a private instance. Private being the instance is very responsive and your data is not going to get refreshed often. Okay. So unlike most likely most folks provide a public environment which is dead slow and every week it gets refreshed. We here providing 6 months of instance access and the material and everything, every recording of all the calls we are going to go through and things like that. So yes, you're going to get 6 months of instance access.
So in case of integration OIC, then so it's going to be the same.
Yeah, instance also, yes. I think for the Oracle Integration Cloud, we will be certainly giving you, but I'll confirm you the duration. Definitely it's going to be for three months, but is it like same as 6 months or something? I'm going to cross check and confirm.
Thank you.
And one more question, Satya. Now, whether it is a HCM or a financial side, now here in general, if we want to generate any bills or anything like that, here we don't see any other programming languages, right? Then those kind of things, how it can be achieved?
Can you elaborate your example, please? When you
Let's imagine you have a GL transactions, right? And GL transactions every day night you will update the accounting key like that. Those kind of thing, repeated process. If there is no bad jobs and all, then how it can be done in the cloud?
So Ram, one way of, first of all, unlike, are you from an EBS background, Ram?
No, that's what I'm telling. I am from ORMB, Oracle Revenue Management and Billing.
Okay, but that's an on-premise or that's a cloud?
That is having both on-premise and cloud.
Okay, but see, basically to do any kind of such daily jobs or batch jobs, it could be in a custom nature, right? One aspect in the Oracle Fusion is you can create your custom ESS job, which can be linked to a report. Okay, so other way, let's say if you have to do some kind of an updates, Ram, like for example, there might be some DML kind of an operations you need to perform on the on the underlying business objects, right? The only way you need to do by writing an integration, because in the system, right? See, reports are used to fetch the data, but it cannot manipulate them, right? It cannot manipulate the underlying data. But let's say if you have a requirement of manipulating something within the system, any specific business process, the only way you have to use is using the web services. But to call the web service by passing the necessary, it may not be a single step. It may be a multiple steps. So for that, you have to rely on Oracle Integration Cloud to perform that. Okay. So using an Oracle Integration Cloud, you basically perform your end-to-end orchestrated steps so that the individual web service will fire and do your necessary operations in the system. Okay. Okay, folks.
Hi, Satya.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Satya, I'm completely new to this Oracle Fusion technical. So I just want to know, do I need to learn first functional and then come back to technical, or is it sufficient? Because I'm very much interested in the only technical part. So that's why up for this training. After attending this yesterday's and today's session, I'm not clear. Do I need to learn first? Completely functional and then come back to this, or will this course itself sufficient
Not really, Sai. That's a good question. I think, in fact, this is going to be helpful for all the people who are getting started as a fresh. So, like I told, right, we will be also covering the sufficient important functional elements as a part of this course, because that is important for anyone to navigate in the technical arena. Okay, so it is not needed until unless you decided to go as a full-fledged functional guy, then there will be a need of taking a separate functional course. But otherwise, if your core focus is on technical, we are going to teach you the necessary and sufficient functional elements in order for you to navigate successfully in the technical area.
Okay, Satya. There are one more question, sir. We will be covering the SQL also in this session, basic.
So, I mean, it's like something we will provide you with some self-learning videos, Sai. Being SQL is certainly will help you out with any kind of questions you have. But we have a very good library of self-learning videos and good learning material also. We will be certainly we'll be starting with the basic examples, but knowing SQL is something important, and it's important the candidate has to pick up on the parallel lines. For that, we will be help in all possible ways. It's not that we'll be taking a separate sessions to teach that, but we will be assisting you with the necessary self-placed videos and and also assisting you with any kind of questions when you're practicing and stuff like that.
Okay, Satya. Thank you.
Okay. So, guys, I'll quickly take some time to get into the Oracle Fusion application UI, and then I will also cover the Oracle integration part of it. Okay. So let me just log into the application. Okay.
Will you cover Groovy scripting also while doing a page composer personalizations?
See, Rama, certainly we will be giving you certain examples. For example, Groovy scripting heavily used in order management module, and also to some extent in the HCM modules also. Yes, I'm going to provide you such example how by showcasing you a Groovy script and how we can leverage that in the context of order management.
Okay, will you provide any training kind of document to get some expertise on to Groovy scripting?
I'll certainly see, but and unfortunately, the documentation about Groovy scripting is very limited in the outside world, even with Oracle Rama. That's why you don't find much blogs or so much of documentation outside is not really available. But I myself did some good number of such order management extension related aspects. I hold a very good knowledge on the possibilities of doing how do we do that and all. But I can provide you those materials and whatever I have, that scripting information and all to you, Rama, to all the attendees. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So guys, they're all very good questions. Thank you for raising all of them. I hope I was able to answer your questions to gain some clarity and insights in terms of what this is going to be all about, right? So now you see this is our homepage. Basically, this is people who are looking at it for the first time, or people who have some idea. The moment I log into the application, I logged in using this is the URL. We call this as a pod, platform on demand. Okay, so using this URL for your dev instance, QA instance, UAT, prod, you're going to get a separate pods. So using that, you're going to get into the system using a username given to you. This is a super user username, FinIMPL, but generally you are going to get your own username in the companies. Right? The one you are seeing is on the springboard. Like we call this as a springboard. Depending on the kind of role assigned to you, the kind of menus you are going to see here. For example, being this a super user, financial super user, you will see anything and everything about, all the financial elements, right? In fact, the financials and also certain supply chain elements of it. Okay. Because since this being a practice user, many people also adds other module related roles here. That's why you're seeing bill management, contract management, order management related things, supply chain, receivables, all the product families we discuss it, right? We kind of able to see everything. For example, you see payables. This is where you go and create the invoices and stuff like that. So on top, this is the springboard. This is where it's a nice view. People coming from EBS background have this limitation, right? Once you get into a specific responsibility to go to other modules, you always need to change the responsibility, and then only get into the menus and pages. Here, that's not the case. Basically, this being a global menu can be accessed from any page in the Oracle Fusion applications. You can navigate and you can get into anywhere you wanted to go. So this is the tools menu is the most commonly used menu. This is where you using the security console, we will add the users, we will add the necessary roles, and all those things we will be doing here. Generally, anyone who is getting started with the project are going to get specific IT security console role, so that they can perform these options. Okay. One more important thing, see here about this application. You see, we are on 24D, which means, see, every year Oracle Fusion goes through, 4 quarterly. Each quarter there will be one update. Okay, so this particular environment we are seeing, the last update was on the 24D, which means last quarter. You see this 10 represents October. The last quarter of the 2024 is the last update. We are going to get a new update in the maybe now we are in 2024. We are going to get by March. Okay, so like that every year there will be a new. Every quarter there will be a new upgrade. Will be done by the Oracle itself, because this being a SaaS, we don't maintain or manage or worry about anything. They take care of any bugs and issues and patches and security related everything all together in the name of this quarterly upgrades. Okay, so this setup and maintenance is the area where you basically do all the setups. You can select the desired area, financials in whatever you want, be it your lookups or your value sets, your DFFs, KFFs, EFFs, everything, even data set access, all those things can be search here and then configure here, and you can manage all those things from here. So just as an example, manage common. You'll be able to see the value sets and DFFs, KFFs, everything all together here, and then certainly people can edit them, create new lookups, new value sets, all the dependent, independent type of things, everything you can do using setup and maintenance. Okay, another thing is like when you get into the tools, right, there is something called we call developer reports and analytics. So when you click on these reports and analytics, this is the place where if you click on browse catalog, it will take you to the analytics. This is where you do all your BIP reporting, and OTBA reporting. So we can so you can click on open. You can click on create and you start with the data model. Okay, you start with creating a SQL query, say AP data model, and you select the data source. In this case, financial supply chain have one data source, HCM have another data source, CRM has another data source. Depending on where you do the reporting, you need to select that. And then it will be a standard SQL. You write a general SQL just for the sake of demo. Let me fire a simple SQL query. Okay, you get a nice view of the entire columns contains it, and then you get into the data, and then you just view the sample data. It can be in a tree view, it will be shown like this, and then it can be also view in the table view, and we can only have a limit of 200 to view the sample data, not the entire data. So guys, this being Oracle, this is nothing but your Oracle Business Intelligence product got integrated here. So if anyone from the OBIE background will be able to relate to this basically. So we need to first save the data model. Just a second. Let's first do the save as sample data. And then, create the data model. Let's just create a data model. So, I mean, you can create all kind of, flex fields. I mean, you can use flex fields and then value sets, and you can add parameters, and you can associate list of values, and you can do bursting and all. But remember, unlike your traditional reporting, right, you don't have all possibility of especially using the event triggers because this can be only used when you are customizing a standard report, but there is no way, because since we don't have any database access here, we don't even know the underlying PL SQL packages being leveraged. So in that sense, these event triggers are not something that before trigger, after trigger, those kind of triggers are not really possible to create within the Oracle, Fusion space. Okay, only when you are customizing a standard report, then certainly you can, because standard reports are using event triggers, it's been given by Oracle, that can be, carry forward as a part of your customization. Generally, we will be able to see what that underlying, package.procedure, package.function being called, but other than that, we cannot really do anything there. But apart from that, we can do very much like, the list of values, the bursting, and, all that stuff can be very much performed here. So the basic thing is like you create a report, you save the sample data, you save that as a data model, and then you go ahead with, creating the report. There is like, two ways of doing this, and you can just use a guided way of doing the report, or you can prepare your own RTF file and upload. So just take this landscape. A couple of columns. Okay. Give a report title. Okay, because it have a lot of data, that's why it's not showing up. But let's just do one thing. I did the report. I did the data model. Okay. Let's cross verify it. It certainly won't be able to give you 200 because we have only given this at 100, right? So let's quickly go back to our report, go into catalog and open the report we created, and we will run that. My folder. AP report. Yes, open this out. Now you will be able to see the report. So basically the output supports various different options. If I quickly edit this, right, it can be of HTML, it can be of Excel. Let me show you. Yeah. HTML, Excel, all the formats which supports can be used here. Generally, if it is for integration purposes, we'll go with the data. And if it is for any other business user purposes, we'll go with the specified, it's a PDF or Excel, depending on that, we will be providing it. Okay, so this is a very basic example, I know, but considering the time we have, considering this is a demo session, my intention is to showcase you, some sample execution, but we will be going quite, detail, like master report details, the child-parent relationships, and we'll be covering the template related changes, and creating the what we call RTFs from the scratch. Having the language specific dynamic language translations, and we'll look into those examples too. Okay, so I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead, Naveen.
Just how to address like a complex reports.
How to?
So how to develop a complex report? So in the data model, so we don't have any data model right here.
We have, right, Naveen. See, when you say complex report, it can be complex at two levels, Naveen. One is at the query level, because you see,
Yes.
I've written a very simple query here, but it can be a very complex query. Okay, so if your query is complex, yes, or your report have multiple data models and have a relationship with parent, child, or master detail, anything like that. So basically, you can have complexity at that level, or you can have complexity at the report level. Okay, or you can take a super complicated standard report and customize that. That's also a complex use case, because generally a complex report, like take sales order generation, or purchase order generation, or payment related payment format generation, they are basically very complicated. Incorporating the changes to it, adding our new columns and data elements into the existing query, looking for that and figuring out where it fits, because Oracle standard queries are very complicated, which have a lot of inner queries, sub queries, and the dynamic lexical parameters get substituted at the runtime and all. So, I mean, it's all about the requirement. Yeah.
So I'm talking about at layout level, not at query. So in case I got a very complex layout, then how we are going to develop that?
So see, layout could be anything. It could be an RTF layout or XSL layout, right? So it again depends on, for example, you see here, you take this one, the same report I just created, Demo-2 report, right? So here I have not created any layout, but automatically system created, right? So if you see, this is the layout. If I see, if I click on add new layout here, right? So I can create my RTF. So basically, to create any layout, RTF layout, or even XSL layout or e-text layout, you have to have a source. Source is your data model. At the data model, basically we can extract the XML data. Generally, while you create the RTF reports, you will be giving the sample XML data so that it will show you all the tree structures. And on top of it, you wanted to represent in a table, or you wanted to have a loop incorporated in it for each kind of a thing, right? You wanted to have some dynamic elements incorporated. Everything will be prepared in the RTF layout level. Same is the case, like if it is an XSL, if there is an XML data, you can apply a XSL on top of it to have the desired output come out of it. So it's even you can even do that complex cases even using Excel template. So all those things happen in your local Naveen, like you download, because you need to download the BI Publisher plugin, and using that plugin we need to certainly take our source. I mean, for example, I'll show you here. Let me go back to the data model itself so that it makes more sense to you. So if I open my data model, BAP report DM, edit this, right? Structure, right? If you see, not this one, my bad. Demo APR. You see this, right? If I click on export, right, you see there is an XML file got downloaded here. So let me open that. Okay. So this is the XML file will be going as an input to your, this is just a sample, right? But the structure remains intact even if it is 200 or 1000 rows, right? So this will be going as an input to your RTF template. And then on top of it, you define how complex you want it, how you wanted to present the data. And let's say sometimes, right, this is a very simple structure, straightforward structure. But if you have a parent child, multiple data models, and the same way the structure also represents. And accordingly, you can create your complex scenarios using the RTF templates, Naveen.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Good.
Yeah, even from here, guys, we can also create the OTBI reports and things like that. I told you, right? The using the what we call a data model. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, see, you can basically create analysis also. Using an analysis, you can quickly see if I select an analysis here. But analysis is nothing but your OTBA reports, which means, like I told you, right? I mean, without needing of writing any SQL query, we can make use of existing subject areas. It's slow for some reason. Generally, you will see all the subject areas pertaining to each module for HCM, SCM, payables. So you will get the subject areas which contains, there will be predefined dimensions and, you know, the measure columns there where you can take those drag and drop, and, you know, if you want to do formula columns and do apply any math, and, you know, you can do all that. It's taking time for some reason. Let me showcase you from here. For example, let me open this. This is a one such analysis created some time back. You see this. Let me edit this. You can basically create from there and also from here. There are certain differences doing from here versus there. It is little limited in its options, but there you will get a full-blown options and from the analytics space. Yeah, there could be some issue, looks like, but anyway, it's not loading. In the interest of the time, I'll leave that aside, and then I'll just move on to the other aspects of it. Just a second.
Satya, will you cover OIC demo session?
Yeah, I will. Certainly, that's my plan to move. Okay, but yeah, so I hope you got some essence of it, right? Like I know it's not a super detailed considering the time we have, but my intention is like, I wanted to cover what are all the elements, we'll be covering on the SaaS side of it. Now, quickly moving to the, PaaS side of it, right? This is the application you're seeing is the Oracle Integration Cloud Gen 3. Okay. I'm not sure if anyone is aware of it or not. This is the latest version of Oracle Integration Cloud. There are many of the clients still running on OIC Gen 3, but this being latest, it has some additional options, additional features in comparison to Gen 2. Okay, so we will be, as a part of this Oracle Integration Cloud, we will be covering and understanding all these accelerators and recipes, what exactly they are, how we can leverage all of them. And then we will certainly understand all different adapters available and what exactly a connection, how do you prepare a connection. Okay, this is where our SOAP and REST basics fundamentals will be come into the picture. What is a WESDL, what is an abstract WESDL, what is a concrete WESDL, and all that informations will learn. And we'll also look at libraries. This is basically JavaScript libraries we will be leveraging for special advanced use cases. We can use of JavaScript libraries as a functions to perform certain math, calculation, generating some random numbers and things like that. And we can use that in conjunction with an integration, right? This is a new option, like we can raise events, we can publish events, we can subscribe to events. Earlier in the older Gen 2, you have something called PubSub concept. But here Oracle kind of streamline and make it more clear in terms of its presentation, and it's furthermore powerful and have more visibility in terms of what events are active, how many subscribers are active, and those kind of information. So I mean, we will be looking at all of them, like, the lookups. It's the same concept goes in anywhere, even in the Oracle Fusion also. So we'll be looking at it. How do you create? Why do we create? What are packages, agents, connecting to your on-premise servers and, things like that. So we'll be using agents, right? So we will be covering all type of integrations. For example, what is an application integration, schedule integration, event-based integration, right? We'll be doing very good real-time use cases in conjunction with Oracle Fusion applications, and also the application, the enterprise applications like Box, ServiceNow, or Salesforce, these kind of applications will see some use cases and some examples. So we'll be covering all these things in a great detail. Other than that, right, certainly depending on the edition of the Oracle Integration Cloud, you will be getting certain features. There will be edition called Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition, and Healthcare Edition. Okay, Standard Edition only gives you the integrations and Visual Builder Cloud Service. This is the option. Okay, whereas Enterprise Edition gives you business B2B and Visual Builder and Process Builder also. Process Cloud Service. This is also comes with Oracle Integration Cloud, which can be leveraged as your what we call process related applications. Understand? So observability is what you have all the monitoring capabilities, to have a view on how your integrations are doing and things like that. Okay, so if you see here, right, in a nutshell, we will be covering all the type of integrations and the design elements, everything, hands-on doing them. And we will be from an adapter standpoint, right? Let me just also go over there. So there are important adapters, like especially your ERP your ERP cloud adapter, one of the most commonly used adapter in all the Oracle Fusion implementation to perform various different ESS job submission, getting back automatically the callback elements of it. All this information we are going to get, we are going to understand, and we are going to do the practical examples using this Oracle ERP cloud adapter. And there will be also database adapter, DB, ATP. autonomous transaction processor, one of the most famous, Oracle's database offering used for transaction processing elements. We'll be certainly leveraging this, and we'll be doing that. We'll be also looking at the technology adapters like, SOAP, and also REST, right? So we'll be fully leveraging them to understand how we configure, how we do all the CRUD operations, put, get, post, all that stuff will be, learning as a part of it. And not only that, other than that, there is something like FTP, because most of the integrations are file-based integration. So your FTP server sitting behind a firewall, how do we configure that, access that, read the bulk files, process them, right? And then, finally create, like, you take an example of AP invoice import, right? How do we do that? It all starts with reading a file and then validating the file, whether we got all the necessary important elements or not, right? Or whether I get an invoice number, date, at least supplier number, supplier name or number, something bare minimal information we're getting it or not. Based on that, you take into some staging and then start validating, transforming, and deriving. I wanted to derive the payment terms, right? I want to derive something else. I want to transform the date. The way date I'm getting from the source is not going to fit in the target. I want to transform the format of it. Okay, I want to define the payment terms. I mean, there are anything which is missing, which are needed for AP invoice creation. So certainly we can do that entire FBDA import. The standalone, whatever we learn on the SaaS side of it, like preparing everything manual, can be achieved or automating using Oracle Integration Cloud, using orchestrated process of reading a file from the FTP and then leveraging your ERP cloud adapter to push the data into Oracle Fusion Cloud. And then once the jobs got succeeded or failed, getting automatic response back to OIC and then sending out the notifications, preparing the report out of it. And you can basically, do all those things, and we are certainly going to cover about all other elements there. Okay. So we'll be we'll be creating good number of connections and on various different adapters, and we'll be touch with notification elements and everything all together, right? So for example, I'll quickly, demo a quick integration so that you'll get a feel of it, right? Basically, how does that work and what are the components which are integral part of Oracle Integration Cloud. So yeah, so let's take this, right? So this is a sample integration, very simple integration with REST as a trigger, which means when we say something as a trigger, which means it is going to be triggered outside of Oracle Fusion. I mean, there are requirements where, right, your integration to be triggered from a third-party application, right? And you can take an example of the same e-commerce site, right? The moment you submit the order or you place the order on the e-commerce site, right, you can think of that submit button can call a REST service, so that the backend system will receive that order information and process. You can think like that. So like I told earlier, right, any of the what we call integration you create, that becomes, depending on what is this trigger. If the trigger is a SOAP, it becomes a SOAP integration. If the trigger is a REST, it becomes a REST integration. Okay, so we can configure the way we want to accept the inputs. What is that input we can push it so that the input can be further processed in the application, and then everything will be an invoke. Basically, you can call an FTP here, you can call a database here, you can call your what we call ERP cloud adapter, you can call a notification here, you can invoke anything in between, and you can handle effectively the mapping between each and every node which can be work as an orchestrated flow and do the desired job as per the requirement. Okay, so in this simple example, right, it just accepts any input. You say give a number, or you give anything. It just do some logging, like whatever you input, it is going to log that information, and it will also send a notification, and it will return whatever you are inputting it. So it's a very simple basic use case just to introduce you to the Oracle Integration Cloud world. So whatever you are seeing here is a canvas basically. Okay, the integration designing canvas. This is where you develop integrations. You can add all the actions and invokes. Okay, all the actions like what we call assigning the variables. Doing the B2B, like I'm sure many of you know the B2B, the electronic data exchange related functionalities, right? And you can logger is nothing but like logging something. Think like your DBMS output, kind of from an EBS world or PL SQL world, right? So you wanted to print something runtime so that some key elements can be tracked at the runtime. Mapping accommodate your source and data elements and things like that. So there are a whole lot of, being an integration platform, it also have to accommodate what a traditional programming language can achieve. So these actions and then logic, the looping, the exception handling, calling file servers and different integration elements, calling JavaScript functions and all other, so using all these actions, basically you can effectively handle and develop your integration so that all your requirements can be fulfilled. So we will be touch basing all these actions, error handling elements, logic, and everything as a part of our exercises. Okay.
This is as part of OIC, correct?
Right. Exactly. Right. So this is the mapper, certainly provides quite advanced features, to map between your source and target application. Because think like a scenario, let's say your workday system is the main system in your company to maintain your employee related information, right? And that workday system, the moment it creates an employee, it has to send that information to your Oracle cloud, because you're maybe using Oracle Financials Cloud. But for the sake of approvals, position, employee, supervisor hierarchy, you still need to maintain employee and supervisor record. So the source system, which is Workday, have a different structure. It may call EMP number, but whereas your Oracle Cloud, just a second, guys. Yeah, whereas your Oracle Cloud expects, okay, I think the display has been stopped. Yeah, whereas the Oracle Cloud expects, a worker number, because the names, the structures, the data types may be different between source and target system. So the mapper accommodates, applying transformations also, like it's just not mapping, a direct mapping, you see, using these inbuilt components, you can apply various different, functions like Boolean functions, conversion functions, like you want to convert it to date, double, integer, and different date functions, right? And certainly some mathematical functions. I mean the string function, substring, all your in string and pretty advanced string functions. These are all like specific to the playing on the XML data. So it out of the box itself, it pretty much offers super advanced out of the box functions so that you can apply them on top of your mapping, so that in the runtime that mapping gets accommodated. If I take a simple example, let's say if my if my integration is taking two numbers as inputs, two numbers, number 1 and number 2, and I wanted to simply do a math on top of it, I can simply use there is something called operators. I can simply use an addition. So by taking my source value and apply the math on top of it, and I can do the multiplication, and then I can give the response back, the multiplied value or addition value. So you can think something like that. Understand? So that's where your mapping helps. So you can also handle your exception handling very well at a global level and at the scope level. It is nowhere, I mean, compromises in comparison with your on-premise programming languages. Is a very robust control from an exception handling standpoint at every invoke you do, every step you do, basically. Okay. So I know it's huge, it's an ocean, it's difficult to fit in everything in a small class, but I just try to give you a glimpse of it, what's that we are going to cover, and what something we are going to touch base. So in a nutshell, we are going to touch base on every single component of it. We start from basics, trying them standalone, and we'll tie back to some real-time use cases, doing the end-to-end scenarios like calling a report, submitting an FBDA process, okay, pushing the data to a database, reading data from the FTP servers, pushing the data to modern cloud storage systems like object storage, all these kind of scenarios will get covered. Okay, so I'll quickly do a quick demo on this particular integration. Let me activate this.
Sorry, I'm not able to see your screen. Is it for everyone or?
No, we are able to see the screen. We don't have an issue.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, this particular integration I told you it's a REST-based integration. As a trigger, it just accepts a certain input parameter, anything you can give, and it just responds or gives you the back, same whatever you have input. Okay. So now it got activated. If you go here and then run. So if any one of you familiar with tools like Postman, right? It is a similar interface, right? The moment if it is a REST-based app-driven integration, which means it must have an ability to get called by other applications. Okay. So I mean, I'm speaking at a very high level because for you guys to understand this, that's why the fundamentals of REST is extremely important. That's and where you understand what is this post operation, what is this URI, what are the headers, what is body, and curl and everything all together. Without knowing those fundamentals, certainly one cannot be able to understand. But my attempt here is to just showcase you that, look, this integration accepts some input value here. And then when I submit, I will get the same as response. Okay. And in between, it will also send the, it just did the logger basically. You see whatever I have given as an input added as a logger here. And it also sent a notification, with this subject, with the integration name as a subject and integrations instance ID, which is unique one, which ends with XRA. Okay. So you see here XRA. This is the instance ID, which got sent as a subject, and the from email address to email address and the subject of your design. So this is all has been configured as a part of integration logic, and that's why it all went. Okay, so this being a REST API, you can basically call this, you see, this automatically generated a REST API. So someone was asking, are we going to create the REST APIs, the logic and all? Technically, we did not create any system. Whatever the logic you are incorporating in a drag and drop manner, in a declarative manner as a part of your integration, depending on the starting point, if it is a REST trigger, it becomes a REST API. If it is a SOAP trigger, it becomes a SOAP API. Simple. Okay. Not only that, right? Oracle Fusion also offers not just the REST. If you heard, right, there will be Swagger and Open API is being extensively used across various different applications. This system also generates you that Swagger URL and Open API URL, so that if the target system is wanted to consume an Open API URL, you can very much give this. If the target system wants a Swagger, you can very much give, because Swagger is more like a documentation. It just gives you, if I go here, right, it gives you the entire structure, gives the entire information about what exactly this integration name and, the URL, endpoint URL, what kind of payload it accepts, and all that information will be, read or created automatically in a Swagger document. If you give this to the other party who wants to consume this, are going to get a full-fledged clarity about that. Okay. So that's in a nutshell, right? And lastly, what I wanted to cover is, certainly we will be covering everything and anything about Oracle Integration Cloud in a very great detail. We'll be touch basing some use cases on the B2B, but this B2B is not something we're going to cover, as a part of this. This is altogether a separate aspect, but we will be giving use cases and why do we use this and things like that. Healthcare, I told this is a topmost edition. Certainly we are not going to cover. This is a new edition in the Oracle Integration Cloud, right? Only the healthcare editions will be able to. There is no much difference basically. Basically, it is just that healthcare specific companies, healthcare specific, adapters are going to be part of it. Because you take any insurance provider or any take something which is confidential in nature, right? Because there are certain regulations like HIPAA, for example. You can't just transmit unsecurely. So that's why Oracle came up with a dedicated offering for specific to healthcare customers. Okay, we'll look into it that, and then observability is very simple. Like, you ran an integration now, you see that how the integration, if you run 100 times, you will see 100 instances of it. You see all the error instances, future runs, and everything all together you are going to see here. Observability, nothing but monitoring all your integration. Certainly support people are going to spend a lot of time here on a daily basis to figure out what exactly has been, running and, failing and troubleshooting and things like that. So this is what I think some of you were asking and are interested. Visual Builder. It's a low code offering primarily used for building the extensions of Oracle SAS. So this primarily uses some open standards with the flavor of Oracle. One have to be good with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and Groovy script or some expression language related things. This tool uses for UI, it uses, like I told, for the structure, HTML, for, presentation, the CSS, for behavior, JavaScript. So does that mean for me to get started and build something, do I really need to know all these things? Not really. But generally, any enterprise grade application always have a lot of complexity. So it is always good to have an idea on JavaScript, how to add JavaScript, because certain dynamic elements, certain complex scenarios has to be handled using JavaScript. The system automatically creates the JavaScript, for the drag and drop components, but it is always, there will be a need of manipulating them by adding additional JavaScript elements. All the business logic will be handled using, like Groovy scripting basically. Okay, so one have to know about the Groovy scripting. Otherwise, it's difficult to, write the business logic. You take your traditional programming language, you do the business logic in PL SQL, right? You do the business logic in Java. You do business logic in Python. Similarly, here you do the business logic in, Groovy. Database, it comes with an in-house database, a 5 GB limit. That's why it has a hard limitation. People always really patch up this with, either ATP or ADW or a traditional database cloud service by enabling the REST, Oracle REST data services. Understand? So, I mean, if I open any of the application, just for the example here, you can do pretty much everything with drag and drop. You can connect to your SaaS, business objects by the REST APIs. You can create your own data model. You can create your own tables and then relationships, but everything stored as a JSON structure. Okay, you can have layouts, like, because you have a blank canvas. Without having a layout, you cannot represent your data. For example, I want to represent some data. I need either a table, right? I need some kind of a form. So the layouts are that where your data can contain and showcase in a proper way. So you can create layouts. You can even browse lot of components. For example, if you take any web development, there will be a lot of components, right? When I say lot of components, there will be a button component, there will be a scroll bar component, horizontal scroll bar, vertical scroll bar. There will be a checkbox. I want to select a row and then right click on it or do an update. So there will be hell lot of such components, right? So it is not necessary to write your own code for each and every of them. Oracle already given a good number of such components. You can leverage them, take them, use them, and then modify them according to your needs. Okay, so I mean, if I just run this out real quick, this is a nice dashboard. You see, this is just a sample dashboard. One can create. This is for the CRM, right? A sales guy, which will show the total sales, and this is all static. This is not functional. This is a dummy, basically. It's a template. I'm just telling you that these kind of responsive pages can be created using it. It's pretty famous among the extension space, but it has its own downfalls. That's why some people and some organizations with strong extension needs are leaning towards that Visual Builder Studio someone is telling, right? That have everything what this offers. It is just that it have an additional advantage of directly accessing the Fusion data catalog. Here you need to make an explicit REST connection. There you don't need to do that actually. And here you need to maintain all your source code in your local and then take it into a repository standalone. In the Visual Builder Studio, you can directly integrate with GitHub or Git basically. So that's the main difference. But otherwise, in terms of the functionalities and the kind of complexities you create, everything remains same. Okay, so like as a part of this course structure, certainly I'm going to go over all the key elements and doing some good hands-on on building some pages and extension pages covering read page, write page, and those kind of elements. Okay, I'll take a pause. I think that's kind of bring me back, to the conclusive part of it. So just let me know if you have any questions. Do you have any questions in terms of the course coverage, on anything? And one point I wanted to make explicitly: people who are brand new, something totally not aware, you may find it little difficult, relating yourself what these elements and all. When we get start with it, we will basically start from scratch, and we start from scratch and we go to medium level, advanced level. So don't worry if something didn't really understood totally, because there are certain components which I spoke at high level considering the time we have, but basically the actual content is going to be in a super detail, and we're going to cover from scratch and giving all definitions and basic examples.
Hi Satya, Dinesh here.
Hi Dinesh, please tell me.
I'm a functional consultant and now want to learn the technical part. So what could be the prerequisites before start this course?
I think if you're already a functional consultant, which means you already hold good knowledge, Dinesh. So may I know, when you say functional consultant, are you like a functional consultant on Oracle Fusion or EBS?
Yes, Oracle Fusion Supply Chain Management.
Perfect. So which means you are already familiar with the UI elements and the functional setup manager, right? And certain elements of it. So technically, for you to transition into the technical space, Dinesh, I mean, only one thing, you just need to spend some time on picking up on the SQL elements of it. That's all. I'm sure even as a functional, you might also have some experience of running the SQL, some basic SQLs and all. That is good enough, basically. It is just that you need to improve yourself. We'll be assisting you with the self-placed videos and some materials and, any questions which you may occur. But other than that, I think if you're already aware of functional, you're already ahead of the rest of the gang. You're already, know something which you can very easily adapt, because you take any requirement. If I talk about building a report, right, always the starting point is a functional guy who gathers the requirement and helps with the mapping. The functional folks already have some idea on the underlying tables and columns and mapping elements, so which is always an added advantage for you.
Yes, Other than SQL, we don't require any Java and
Nothing, not really.
okay. Thank you. And one more thing that is in a VBCS now, most of the pages are designing in Redwood. So are we covering that page personalization in a Redwood side?
Yeah, Redwood is just a theme, Dinesh, on the SaaS side. Even the same thing applicable even in the VBCS, right? I can just select, it's a template basically. Redwood is just a template. On top of it, you do whatever you want. Yes, we can very much show you that use case.
Okay, sure.
Any other questions?
Hi Satya, this is Venkat. Actually, you showed us the visual builder, right? So actually, it's going to modify the Fusion application pages, or it's going to modify the integrations between the source and target applications. I mean,
okay. First of all, Venkata, it's not possible to modify the Fusion application pages. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So when we say Visual Builder Studio, Visual Builder VBCS, which means this is used as an extension to your standard pages. Okay, there is some functionality which cannot be accommodate or which is not accommodating by your standard pages. So we will create a standalone page and integrate that page in the Oracle Fusion application in the Springboard so that it will serve as an extension. Understand? So no need of people coming and accessing that standalone. People can launch that from the Springboard itself. That means from your Oracle Fusion itself, basically. So it will be altogether a standalone requirement, standalone implementation, and will be worked in conjunction with Oracle integration, Oracle application. Okay, Oracle Fusion application. There won't be any integration element here. If the design, the requirement you wanted to integrate something, that's a different story. For example, you can call an integration from Visual Builder, certainly to bring some element and things like that. That's a different case altogether. But yeah, we will not be able to modify the standard pages.
Okay. So finally, let's deal with the data, right, between the applications.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thank you.
if you have an Oracle Fusion, let's say you wanted to bring some employee data to the Visual Builder and do some manipulations on top of it and then again put it back there, right? This is a common case. So how do you fetch that? You first configure the catalog, basically service URLs, which means this REST URLs are going to be set up as a connection in the Visual Builder. And you create a page and then you fetch the data using get operation. And once you get that, you build on top of it like editing options and those kind of things.
Okay. Yeah.
Satya, if we require to add additional customization on top of existing page, so can we make a copy of seeded page and add additional customization and provide that as a service merged with the application?
In the Fusion, you're asking, Rama?
Yeah.
No, it's not possible, Rama. You can't copy something. See, there is a very thin line between customizations and personalization. I would say we only have a scope for the personalization. Okay, personalization in the sense you can alter hide fields, or show fields. You can change the property of the fields, making it mandatory, not mandatory, giving some additional hints. Using expression language, if I select a particular value here, then only show me the other field. So those kind of personalizing elements you can do. Okay, from a customization standpoint, using App Composer, you can build a brand new page which can work with your standard page in conjunction with, but that is super slow. Not many companies, I won't personally recommend. As a concept, as a functionality, I will teach you, but you yourself experience that this is going to be dead slow. That's why, right? Why do you think that Oracle is not promoting, that's his own tool? One is a pricing element, but basically, if it is efficient, it might have been super famous among the developer community. Okay. You check in the Google about Page Composer, App Composer, you barely get, use cases there. You're going to get handful of them. But again, most of them won't turn into the real-time use cases. In my entire career, I only have to develop one complex page using App Composer for a complex requirement where all our options are shut down. We cannot go to VBCS, we cannot go to Apex, we cannot go anywhere. The requirement is such stringent that we have to rely on that. And then we decided to go with it. And even after implementation, we faced so many issues because the whole concept of that App Composer is not really, robust.
Got it.
Hey, Satya, what is the advantage of the VBCS compared to Oracle Apex, other besides the look and feel?
Excellent question. Is this Naresh?
Yes, it is.
Yes, Naresh. Yeah. So Naresh, the main difference is VBCS, first of all, comes along with your Oracle Integration Cloud license. First point. Okay. At the availability level, that's why this got more famous, because it always comes with Oracle Integration Cloud. Most companies takes Oracle Integration Cloud. They also start adopting the VBCS. Whereas Apex is a standalone offering. Okay, Apex from a licensing standpoint, Apex is a standalone offering. But from a developer perspective, from an implementation perspective, the main difference is VBCS is good for people who are familiar with, like I told, Groovy scripting, Java scripting and all that stuff, and all your business logic layer is using Groovy scripting. Whereas Apex is meant for people who are from that on-premise mindset, because they are so much into that, the PL SQL thing of it. So in the using Apex, right, the backend is your PL SQL, simple, which makes life easy. If the nature of your application is such that highly transactional in nature, your UI element is pretty similar to this. You can do drag and drop. Even it uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But the backend layer is it can directly connect to a database cloud service or ATP, any cloud Oracle database, and you can very much write all your business logic in the PL SQL, which is easy, a first go-to choice for many people who are coming from EBS background. That's why, right? Many companies, prefer to go with Apex, especially when they have a lot of custom forms. They wanted to convert everything, right? They prefer Apex over VBCS because of that backend PL SQL layer. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Could you please share the details of course duration and how many days are we going to cover OIC alone?
Yeah, I think the course is anywhere goes close to 80 hours overall content, right? The OIC itself, comes 35 to 40 hours, OIC, VBCS.
Okay, thank you.
About session timings, what are the timings?
Timings will be communicated. It will be morning pretty much on the same time. I think someone from the admin team is going to confirm you that, but it will be an everyday 1 hour session.
Okay, so 8 a.m. IST is the
Yes,
time.
yeah, most likely that, or I need to check if it is 7 to 8 or 8 to 9. I'm not very sure, but someone from the admin team can confirm you that.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking for a little earlier slot than this.
Yeah.
We stay in EST, so it would be late for us.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Okay. I think I take that as a no. I hope the session was helpful. We were I was able to cover it at a little high level, but hopefully to see you guys in the actual sessions to talk in the great detail. Okay. Feel free to drop any questions you have to the admin team, and they'll certainly get back to me if you have any questions or concerns about the coverage and things like that. Thank you very much for all the time. It's a long session today. I appreciate everyone's patience. Have a good rest of the evening and good day.
Thank you, Satya.
Thank you, Satya.
Okay, thank you, Satya.
Good day. Bye.
Thank you.